Let's get to the big leagues here. I want to start with that George Kirby article that you read. It was on MLB.com. David Adler wrote it. I thought he did a really good job. Kirby has long been a favorite of mine. I think anybody that's been listening to this pod knows that Kirby has long been a favorite of mine. His junior year at Elon, I'm going to say that was 2019, George Kirby struck out 107 and walked 6. And the premise of Kirby is exactly what David Adler wrote about. This guy doesn't walk people at a historic pace.
George Kirby has 7 walks in 94 innings. 7 walks in 94 innings. In terms of his strikeouts, right? Because in those 94 innings, he has 79 punch-outs. So for every walk, he's striking out around 10, 11. The next best is Joe Ryan at around 6. This is historic levels of strike throwing. And I love this quote in the article. I'm just so obsessed with throwing strikes, Kirby said. I hate walking people. He has the highest single season K to walk ratio in American League or National League history. Next up is Phil Hughes, then Brett Saberhagen in 1994. You got Cliff Lee in there. I mean, this is the best control that we have seen in a very, very long time. But we talk about the difference between control and command. And it's not just he's throwing a bunch of strikes, right? Of course, he has the highest in-zone rate of any pitcher. He also has the highest percentage of pitches in the zone and on the edges. Every single thing that you're going to find about George Kirby is number one in both control in terms of just throwing strikes while also commanding strikes within the zone, because he has very good stuff. He doesn't have elite stuff, but he's still getting a bunch of swing and miss on all 4 of his pitches. George Kirby has to be considered one of the best young aces in all of Major League Baseball. I think that's the bottom line, because when he's touching upwards of 98 miles an hour with a hook, and he's got all these different pitches, he's got the sinker, the slider, the curveball, and he's like, I could just keep listing a bunch of stats to tell you that the command and control is unmatched in Major League Baseball. Like, when you think of guys throwing strikes, when you Google it, George Kirby's picture is going to come up.
So I wrote an article last year about Kirby, and I literally tabbed him as the pitcher that baseball needed, because he was a guy that was obsessed with strike throwing, and then the stuff ticked up. When he got to Elon, I think he was sitting in the mid 80s, maybe high 80s. And all of a sudden, he was touching 99 miles an hour in the minor leagues. And Kirby, I watched him close games on the Cape in 18. In 13 innings out on the Cape against the best college hitters in America that didn't go play for the Team USA collegiate national team, Kirby in 13 innings struck out 24 and walked 2. You see that with a guy that's closing games, that was starting at Elon. You say, okay, this guy has it. And again, 14 starts with Elon in 2019, 107 punchies, 6 walks. That's 17.8 strikeouts to walks.
So since his last year at Elon, and just in the major leagues, how many walks does he have? Because last season, I'll give you his major league stats. So in 130 innings last year, he had 133 punch-outs and 22 walks. He's thrown 224 innings in his major league career and has 29 walks. How many walks did he have at Elon? Do we know?
At Elon, in college baseball, in 240 innings, he walked 50. So his walks per 9 clip was the highest at any stop in college, and it was 1.9 walks per 9. In the minor leagues, in 117 innings, Kirby walked 21 guys. In the major leagues, in 224 innings, he's walked 29 guys. So in the minor leagues, George Kirby had a 2.6 ERA, 10.5 Ks per 9, and 1.6 walks per 9. In the major leagues, he's got a 3.3 ERA, 8.5 Ks per 9, 1.2 walks per 9.
25 years old.
He's so much fun.
He's 25 years old.
The only reason I'll push back on Ace a little bit is the Ks aren't there and the hits pile up a little bit at points. We saw a 3.4 from him last year. We're seeing a 3.3 from him this year. I got to see a sub-3 before I call a guy an ace.
I guess what I meant of when we look at pitchers 25 and younger.
No, he's one of the better young pitchers in all of baseball.
That's what I'm saying. And why couldn't he develop into that ace type pitcher? Right? Because if you're telling me my ace is a 3.2 ERA guy who throws 180 innings a year and doesn't walk anybody, I mean, it's hard to find like a lot of pitchers in this day and age who are going to do that consistently.
No one does that consistently.
And I have no reason to believe that this isn't going to continue because he's not allowing free passes, which is so key. And it's not like his hard hit rate is that crazy, right? 40% this year, 38% last year. It's around league average, right? So if he's allowing league average contact while striking out in the league average while not walking anybody, maybe it's not an ace, but it's a very high-end number 2.
Braden Jobert just hit one of the fucking moon, 18-4 in the top of the 9th.
18-4, 106 miles an hour, 394 feet. I mean, off the backs of a 24-4 Florida win, now it's 18-4 LSU.
So we've got the run differential coming back. If we were to score this by the run differential, I think Florida would still win the national title. But guess what? LSU won 2 of the 3 games. Yeah, man, I'm bought in on what Kirby's doing. I've been bought in on him for a really long time, and I think it's only a matter of time before more people, fall in love with Kirby. And I think we were hoping that the Mariners would be in a much better situation than they are right now. And I think that Kirby would be getting a lot more eyeballs on his starts. Hasn't been the case, but he's making the most of each start, which is really impressive. Bryce Elder has a lot of eyeballs on him. And that was not the case at the beginning of the year. I think we looked at Elder as the ace of the Gwinnett Stripers at the beginning of the year. And like Schuster and Dodd were going to be better than Elder. And he was an afterthought. And he was third on the totem pole between Ian Anderson and Kyle Muller before that trade. And then you got to Elder. But dude, like this guy is just not stopping. He throws tonight against Joe Ryan in Atlanta. The Bubbles hate him. With a burning passion, they hate him.
Yeah.
But he's the king of fuck the Bubbles this year. And my only understanding of why this guy is achieving insane success is he throws a bowling ball.
Yes. And there's pitchers in baseball that the Bubbles don't necessarily like, right? Like we look at Framber Valdez's peripherals.
Bubbles
they aren't great either. Logan Webb's too. But Bryce Elder has a gift. It's keeping the ball on the ground. Framber Valdez is the ground ball king, 58% ground ball rate. Bryce Elder, 57% this season.
And Logan Webb is right there, too. I think Savant hates sinkers.
If they just don't like it if you hit the ball hard and you hit the ball on the ground. Like, Bryce Elder doesn't throw hard. His fastball doesn't really spin, right? He's not a big strikeout guy. But what he does do is he fills up the zone with quality stuff. It's not great stuff, right? Like the sinker is 89. The four seam is 91. The slider is 82. But I'm watching his start against the Phillies, dude. They have no shot. If you're not a super disciplined team against Bryce Elder, he's just going to pick you apart. He's going to throw the sinker on your hands and you're just going to ground out, or he's going to throw a slider low and away. He's just fooling with hitters, right? He's not trying to blow you away. He knows himself. It's clear. And I think that's what's so key about some pitchers. It's about finding your lane. And I think Bryce Elder at 24 years old already has realized, all right, this is my lane. I'm not going to beat you by blowing it by you, which a lot of pitchers, especially young pitchers, try and do. I'm going to dare you to hit my stuff and let my defense work for you. And that's exactly what he's doing, which has led to a 2.40 ERA. What if I told you at the beginning of the season that on June 28th or June 27th, whatever day it is,
he was going to be the
that Bryce Elder would have the best ERA on the Braves and would be their frontline starter today? I mean, you'd call me nuts.
Dog, I think it's best ERA in the National League.
Exactly. I mean, that's what we're looking at here.
He's got a 2.4. I'm looking at the ERA leaders. McClanahan 1, Valdez 2, Bryce Elder 3. He's 7 points ahead of Marcus Stroman. I mean, He was, tell you what, I had an excellent week of watching baseball when Indy went to Gwinnett to see Gwinnett last year, because I watched, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Elder, Kyle Muller, Tucker Davidson, and either Ian Anderson or Waskari Noah. Like, I watched 4 of those 5 throw on back-to-back days. And I was just spoiled because they were all advanced AAA pitchers. That's what I thought Elder was. But the reality was Elder was just getting comfortable. Like, Elder was figuring out who he was. And I think that is the best use of AAA. If you are the contingency plan for a great team in Major League Baseball and you're in AAA, you can either sulk about it and wait to get traded, or you can perfect who you are. And Elder never threw 98. At least not in the upper level minors, like he might have at Texas. I don't remember Elder that well at Texas, but Elder was never the, oh my gosh, this guy has big league stuff guy. In Gwinnett, he was just, oh, Elder gave him 7 again. How did that happen? He's given the Braves 7 every time.
Every time. And I think that's the key, because looking at Bryce Elder long-term, do I think he's a 2.40 ERA guy? Probably not. But with the way people react to him on social media, you would think that this guy has an xERA of 5. It's an expected ERA of around 3.7. Do I think that's probably what he is? Yeah. Do I still think that's a very quality pitcher to have? Absolutely. He's going to keep you in games, and that's all the Braves need, right? Like, Bryce Elder, with all due respect, is not pitching on the Royals right now.
No.
He's pitching on the Atlanta Braves. What the Braves need him to do is go 5 to 6 innings of 2-run ball, and they're going to win those games, right? And that's exactly what he's doing, but to a much higher level. Even if he regresses, this is a guy that I think Braves fans can be content with and say, when Bryce Elder has the ball every 5th day, we have a really, really good shot at winning against anybody in baseball.
And the last number that I want to point out is opponents have a 292 OBP against him. So minimal walks, opponents are hitting 230. If you keep that OBP under 300, I feel really good about each time you toe the hill.
Yep.
Let's talk Jordan Westburg here for a moment, and then we'll wrap with Fernando Tatìs Jr. Jordan Westburg, the Orioles shortstop, made his debut on a rain-soaked Monday night. He walked in his first plate appearance. They're apparently about to get going again, and we're talking just after 10 o'clock. So, hey, best of luck to Jordan Westburg. Maybe he gets his first career hit, maybe his first career nuke, maybe he strikes out the rest of the time. But what I will tell you is Jordan Westburg was as high floor a bat as you had in the minor leagues. And Jordan Westburg is immediately, Aram and I were talking about this, I think on the call-up on Sunday. Jordan Westburg is immediately going to give the Baltimore Orioles a WRC plus at 80 or better. And that is not what they've gotten from Jorge Mateo since May 1. In April, they were getting that. But since May 1, they weren't getting that at all. I will tell you here, though, just looking at Westburg's numbers in Norfolk, 67 games with the Orioles AAA affiliate, he was hitting 295 with a 940 OPS, 18 homers, 54 driven in 67 games. He was 6 for 6 in the stolen base department. Last year, between AA and AAA, 91 games in triple, Westburg had an 850 OPS, 40 doubles, 27 pumps, 106 driven in. He's going to be a good bat. He can play shortstop. He can play third base. If you need to throw him at second, I'm sure he can survive there. The Orioles have like 3 of those guys right now. In Westburg, in Gunnar, in Joey Ortiz. Connor Norby is like a true second baseman. They've got this gluttony of riches. They're the best farm system in minor league baseball, and they just called up one of their better prospects.
I have a question for you. So what I've heard online is that Westburg could provide a really good platoon with Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar Henderson this season has a WRC plus below 70 against left-handed pitching, absolutely demolishes right-handed pitching. And Westburg, I think, his claim to fame, of course, he can hit right-handed pitching, as I'm sure he did in the minors. But I think his bread and butter is against lefties. Do you agree with that type of platoon? How would you play them right now on the Orioles?
I think you play them both every day. And I'm going to tell you, so far this year, Jordan Westburg against right-handed pitching is hitting .313 with a 1034 OPS. Jordan Westburg against left-handed pitching is hitting 243 with a 680 OPS.
Okay.
So I understand, like, hey, he's a righty bat. He'll probably be better. He's a reverse splits guy at this point. So the idea of the handedness platoon with Gunnar, I think you got to throw it out the window. I think you're selling these guys short if you're not playing them every day.
I couldn't agree more. I was just curious because I heard that and I wanted your opinion.
Yeah, no, tell them they don't know ball. I just think it's time to relegate somebody to a bench role. I think it's time to relegate Mateo to a bench role. You got
Adam Frazier, right? You could put Westburg at second.
Allegedly, they signed Frazier to play corner outfield too.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm just thinking of mixing and matching because Frazier has been better than Mateo. I just think Mateo provides a ton of value, at least on defense. And Mateo, he's hitting over.
Yes,
I know, but he is hitting over 300 against lefties. So what they do have is some interesting platoon bats. Maybe not with Gunnar and Westburg, but they can mix and match and create lineups that ultimately drive in runs against either side of the pitcher, whether that be a righty or a lefty. I mean, they're just going to be a really good team for a really long time because Jordan Westburg is only the tip of the iceberg. I mean, just a lot of bergs.
No, I mean, Jackson Holliday is the number one prospect in baseball, according to MLB Pipeline, in their latest update. And they have him ahead of Ellie De La Cruz, which is like a conversation for another time. Yeah, I don't think we need to get into that now. Actually, it's a really quick conversation. I think that's wrong.
Yeah, we'll talk about it with Aram too. Like, yeah. I don't understand it.
Yeah, but what I will say is Mateo, 22 games in April, hit 333 with a 1044 OPS. 26 games in May, hit a $128 with a 316 OPS. So far in June, 19 games, hitting 212 with a 510. I thought he made a change in April. Get wrecked, McMullen. It looks like April was the outlier here. And Mateo, we've seen top prospect, tried and failed. I hope he's not failed because he does so much. He's an excellent platinum glove level defender. He's one of the faster guys in Major League Baseball. But this guy can't be an everyday bat. And now you've got an everyday bat up with you. So I think it needs to be Gunnar and Westburg playing every single day. And Mateo fills in when somebody needs to get off their feet.
Should we talk about Fernando Tatìs Jr. now?
Yeah, let's wrap with Fernando Tatìs Jr. But before that, quick conversation about So Rare, because we've got this excellent opportunity for you. Like, obviously, we've told you about the Just Baseball League a lot. And that link is in our episode description. You can join that free league. But what I found fascinating was I was clicking around, and there's a video on our social medias of me kind of shopping through limited cards, because that is the way, if you want to start buying cards, that's the way to get into it. So you can buy like rare, super rare, unique, all that. Those price points are beyond me. So I look at the limited front, and I look at a guy like Reed Detmers, who's starting against my White Sox right now, and I see $9 to have that guy forever and ever until I feel like I want to sell him. I think Reed is a rocket ship. I think he's going to be awesome. So if I can get in on that guy for $9 right now, I think the reason people love cards is because it's almost like buying stock in players. And this is your opportunity to buy stock in your favorite big leaguers for an okay price point.
And let's say you don't want to spend any money. You can still join our fantasy baseball league. It's absolutely free. We're competing. Arm's going to go over the leaderboard tomorrow. We're going to be giving out some free merch. So definitely go check out the link in our episode description. Like Jack said, perfect opportunity to invest and then ultimately make more money if you know ball. And what I love about this podcast and our listeners is that some of the best ball knowers I've ever seen, like what they're tagging me in, like their comments, they're really, really smart. And this is a great opportunity for you to buy low on some guys that you really like in order to cash in. And if you don't want to spend money at all, no worries, because you can join our fantasy league for free and just have fun. And if you win, you'll get some free merch. So that link is in our episode description.
Shout out my Twitter kings, Tiago and Nick. Connor Joe, very cheap price point on So Rare. So go get him on So Rare. Go get Connor Joe. All right, let's wrap with Fernando Tatìs Jr. because this guy has become one of the better defensive outfielders in baseball. Full stop.
Yep, full stop. Let me introduce you to Fernando Tatìs Jr., the new and one of the best right fielders in all of baseball. And by outs above average, you could consider him the best defender in right field. I'm being serious. The tools are all there. So what we look for are freak athletes. They're normally going to figure it out in an outfield position. And Fernando Tatìs Jr. is one of the best athletes that we've seen in Major League Baseball. Elly De La Cruz is getting all the shine. Let's not forget about Fernando Tatìs Jr. 95th percentile in sprint speed, 95th percentile in outs above average. But what's blowing me away, Jack, is the jumps that he's getting. He's in the 85th percentile in outfielder jump, because as much as we love to talk about eye test when it comes to defense, it just doesn't cover the full scope. And StatCast, it's getting better and better by the day. And the fact that they can track routes and route efficiency and put it into a number for us, it's showing that Fernando Tatìs Jr. is using his speed to his advantage, but his instincts in the outfield are shining through. And then to mask all that, let's say it's an easy fly ball to right field. You ain't running from second to third on Fernando Tatìs Jr. 99th percentile in arm speed, in arm strength, excuse me. Ronald Acuna Jr. is 100th percentile. Like Aaron Judge is 99th percentile. These are some of the best overall arms in Major League Baseball. So you combine, he's one of the fastest players in the game. You combine his incredible route efficiencies getting to balls. And then you have one of the best arms in baseball. What has been created is quite possibly the best defensive right fielder that we have in Major League Baseball. And then you look at the WAR totals. He's got the same WAR as like Corbin Carroll in 20 less games.
Yeah.
We forget.
Motorcycle PED, I think people forgot. I do. And, I think you say that with some satire in your voice, like, hey, people forget. Like, I think they actually did. I think they did forget how ridiculously awesome this guy was. He didn't play at all in 2022, but this guy is having the worst year of his offensive career in terms of OPS, and he still has a career OPS of 953. His worst year OPS wise is at this point 898 entering play on Tuesday with 15 pumps, and he's 14 for 16 in the stolen base department. Like, he's one of the best talents in all of baseball, and we are at the golden age of baseball talent. Like Ohtani, Acuna, Tatis, I think that's where he slots in. And you can look at other guys, Judge, Carroll, Trout. Yeah, keep going. And that's crazy that I just included Corbin Carroll. Hell, I'll include Elly De La Cruz at this point too, but
why not?
I mean, Tatis, he's on that really short list. Ohtani, he's his own tier. I think Acuna and Tatis are that next tier. Welcome to Fernando Tatìs. And here's the thing. World-class athletes can get away with circuitous routes. World-class baseball players take perfect routes and show off their athleticism. And he's a world-class baseball player.
He's world-class. And he's 24.
And he's fast.
He's 24.
Yeah, he's 24. Okay,
he's younger than Adley. I mean, this is amazing. Like, the talent in Major League Baseball is amazing. It blows my mind every day.
Tatis could be a COVID fifth-year senior at LSU right now.
Literally.
Yeah. So Ohtani's fast.
Fast.
Tatis is 24.
Tatis is 24. That's the new bit. Did you know Tatis is 24? No,
My
favorite thing is he's younger than Adley, because Adley is like weirdly way older than everybody else. And it's funny to say, yeah, George Kirby, Adley, same age. Bryce Elder, younger than Adley. Juan Soto, younger than Adley, who's also been amazing this year too. Yeah. And it's funny. I think Javier Reyes, our Padres guy, tweeted it out that what are the Padres first in TBRA and fourth in runs scored in their last 22 games, and they're 11-11.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, me neither. But that'll do it for the Just Baseball show. Again, thank you all for listening. Great time to go get your Just Baseball merch. We are putting some new stuff up in the store. And of course, we are brought to you by BetMGM. Remember to use code Just Baseball in order to get up to $1,000 in bonus bets. And if it loses, you will get those back. Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER if you do have a gambling problem. Must be 21 years or older. And remember to go check out our fantasy baseball league. It's a blast, no doubt about it. I'm pretty happy. I just had a first 5 over. Come on, baby.
Good on you.
Good on me. Needed that. And with that, thank you, everybody.